Please give a warm welcome to DAO Maximalist Czech, Jake Hartnell.
Oh, thanks. What's up, Cosmos? I'm here to talk about Interchain DAOs, because they're cool. And also, I'm here to shill Cosmos. But first, before we get to the Interchain DAOs, before we get to cool announcements, before I tell you all the cool shit that's happening with Juno, oh, can I say that word? It's Cosmos story time. Let's take a journey back. Once upon a time, some people got really excited about this idea, the internet of blockchains. What about instead of one chain to rule them all, there were just like a bunch of different chains and that they were all interoperable, and that sounded really great to me. A bunch of people worked really, really hard to make that vision a reality. A lot of them are here in the audience. And you know what? A bunch of communities formed around this technology. And it was awesome. And for a while, all we knew was just up only, green candles every day. The times were good. We were all one big hashtag IBC gang. And everyone shilled the whole ecosystem. It was good vibes, exciting times. Maybe you remember those times. Oh, wrong button. That's the laser pointer. But then, the bad times inevitably came. And I don't know how much of a degen you are. You might be able to recognize some of these charts, but you might be able to also notice, the trend. And then, obviously we all started fighting each other because that's what you do when resources get scarce. Gone were the good vibes. Gone were the hashtag IBC gang mentions. Everyone complained about all the perceived problems, the tokenomics, everyone getting super critical, beating themselves up, fudding other projects, causing DPS every day. And me, I love a healthy amount of DPS, but even this amount of DPS, a little bit too much for me. And all the while we're like talking about our tokenomics and real yield, Well, meme coins like Pepe were just mooning with no real revenue or applications or utility, so maybe there's something to learn from that. And nothing would make the price go up. And all the negativity made everyone bitter and exhausted and burned out. At least if you had a liquid token in this space. And, no one really wanted to come to an ecosystem where it's just bad vibes and, everyone fighting and being all sad all the time and, bitching about what's wrong with their projects. In spite of the industry-leading tech, this is some of the best tech in crypto. But then, a knight in shining mesh armor appeared, a new band was formed, and organizations from across the cosmos came together to build something that would benefit them all. In many ways, it was harking back to the times of old when we could all work together, when people from Agoric and Informal and Tendermint could all come together and work on something like IBC, and when people from Osmosis could come together and work on something like the Cosmos SDK. This is the good collaborative vibes. Oh yeah, I want some more of those. The mesh became more than just shared security. Yeah, security is cool, right? But what really interests me about mesh is the coordination and alignment aspects. And so, yeah, mesh became more than shared security. It was coordination and alignment for the ecosystems. The success of the Cosmos Hub and the success of Osmosis were not mutually exclusive. The success of Juno and the success of Neutron were not mutually exclusive. There was alignment and coordination across the ecosystem. And of course, others started to take notice in the change of tune. They wanted to join the Interchain, to join hashtag IBC gang. And, soon, Polkadot, Near, Avalanche, and more FOMO'd into the new Interchain narrative. Because, multi-chain, that was last year. Interchain is the new paradigm. And something absolutely magical happened. Boom. Of course, I didn't come here to just do Cosmos story time the whole time, but, I'm here to talk about Interchain DAOs. So maybe you don't know what a DAO is, and if you don't, this is going to be a really difficult talk for you because I'm going to say that word a lot of times. But TLDR, a DAO is a governance system that is controlled by a computer program and not some document sitting in a filing cabinet in a State Department somewhere. So what are interchain DAOs? Well, interchain DAOs are DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, that exist across multiple chains. They can seamlessly control accounts on different blockchains using this thing we all love called IBC. And I think importantly, even beyond the technological aspects of how all that works, they have presence and relationships across the interchain. And so why would you want interchain DAOs? Surely you just want to live on one chain your whole life, right? You only care about your one project and it's just nothing else exists. Well, being locked in on one chain is kind of boring. Cross-chain composability is much more interesting, and frankly, there's a lot more opportunities, right? There's opportunities in bringing our communities together and finding ways to collaborate, Maybe that's DAO-owned liquidity. Maybe it's, maybe you're a protocol that deploys on many different chains. Maybe you're an investment DAO that wants to obviously take advantage of all the great, very undervalued opportunities in the interchain. And so today, I want to show you what some interchain DAO tooling looks like. And this is going to launch in like the next week or so. We're just waiting for the exact finalized audit. So this is DAO. DAO is interchain DAO tooling. And it's probably some of the most advanced DAO tooling in crypto, but you can try it out for yourself at DAO.zone. I'm not here to walk through all the different features of like token-based DAOs and NFT-based DAOs and like being able to create complex organizational hierarchies with sub-DAOs, using great things like Aussie through easy-to-use UI, being able to instantiate smart contracts and create NFTs and create vesting contracts and token swaps with no code. You can just use a great UI for that. But I'm here to talk about specifically the interchain accounts feature, because that's something that DAOs really need in the interchain. You don't want to just be locked in on one chain. So here, this is a proposal to create a cross-chain account. Right now, there's only one chain there. You see Juno testnet. That's going to soon be a bunch of chains. You'll see Osmosis. You'll see Stargaze. You'll see Neutron. You'll see Say protocol. You get the idea. But we have this simple proposal to create a new interchain account. And here you can see a treasury page. We're still working on some of the designs. Feedback is welcome, but this is real, V1. Sometimes you just gotta ship it. And so here you can see, basically two accounts. We have one on Juno and we have one on Juno testnet. This is a Juno DAO on mainnet controlling an account on testnet. Now, why would you want to do that? Probably not that relevant, but it'd be more relevant to have it on Osmosis. But before we put it on Osmosis, we got to make sure the audit's fully done and everything's signed. But yeah, here's a treasury, like treasuries on multiple different blockchains. And as you add accounts on different blockchains, they'll show up there in your treasury. So if you have tokens on Osmosis, they'll show up there. NFTs will also show up there. So if you have NFTs on these different blockchains, you'll be able to see them all in one place. So you can manage your NFT trading DAO and see all your bad kids, because we know bad kids are great. Here's a proposal. So obviously, you can seamlessly use these interchain DAOs as if they're your account on your own chain. So here we have a proposal, and under the hood, you're just spending different tokens that belong to your DAO, but under the hood, it's using interchain accounts to transfer testnet Juno to that address. So you get this seamless ability to spend all your money on all your different accounts that are spread throughout the interchain. But you can do more than that. You can actually execute smart contracts on other chains. So here's an example of executing a smart contract on Juno network testnet from the mainnet. So, as an example, you might want to do something more interesting, like executing a swap or something like that on Osmosis. But you can also do more than just execute smart contracts or mint NFTs or all the normal stuff you can do with DAO. You can even instantiate smart contracts on other chains. That's pretty cool. So as a protocol, let's say you have your protocol with a home on one chain, like Juno Network. It's a great choice. You can actually deploy your protocol and manage it across the interchain from one place. Normally, to do this with current DAO tooling like Gnosis Safe, for every EVM chain you want to deploy your smart contracts on, you have to create a Gnosis Safe. You have to create a Gnosis Safe on Ethereum. You have to create a Gnosis Safe on Polygon. You have to create a Gnosis Safe on Binance Smart Chain, one on Avalanche. And then say one of your developers drops out of the project. Now you have to remove them on 4 different multisigs. You have to make a proposal on Ethereum. You have to make a proposal on Binance Smart Chain. You have to make a proposal, and you have to vote on 4 different, whatever number of chains you're on. You can see how this does not scale very well. But with Interchain DAO tooling, that's actually good, you only have to do it in one spot. Because this one DAO on this one chain controls the accounts on all the other chains. So that's pretty sick. So if you're interested in using DAO to manage your interchain protocol, come talk to me. But all that looks pretty abstract. So you're doing things like instantiating smart contracts or executing smart contracts, or what more can interchain DAOs do? Talking at the low level to the users, what can you do with them? Well, you can do things like mint and trade NFTs on Stargaze. You can do things like manage concentrated liquidity positions on Osmosis. You could do things like govern the Atom economic zone. Atom Accelerator DAO, that'd be sick. You can host a decentralized infrastructure on Akash. You could have DAO-owned liquidity across the cosmos, really. Anything you could do on an account on any of one of the chains that you're connected to, which is pretty sick. You can even use some technology that I'm about to talk about to have the community pool of one chain have an account on another chain, which allows for some pretty cool cross-chain collaboration and alliances. We need to do a much better job of coming together. Let's get the good vibes back. So how is all this possible? Well, this is maybe a little bit more technical for some people, but if you are interested in building interchain protocols, you should definitely check this out. So this was actually not possible with the current interchain accounts implementation that's in the SDK. There's some limitations to that. It doesn't have callbacks. Smart contracts can't use it. That's a big no-no, right? So, and it doesn't have queries, and there's a bunch of other stuff that's wrong with it. I'm not going to go into it, but so we actually created, and this is audited and open source code that you're all free to use. We actually created our an interchain accounts implementation in pure Cosmosm, and we've made we've designed it so that to make sure that it's backwards compatible with any native ICA stuff, and so if you don't have Cosmosm in your chain, don't freak out, but you should get Cosmosm in your chain. So what is Polytone? Polytone powers interchain DAOs and protocols. Basically, it's smart contract-controlled interchain accounts in Cosmosm. And it works on any Cosmosm chain, and you don't need to have any custom SDK modules. So Neutron has some pretty cool ICA stuff, but you have to have their custom SDK modules, and then that's a lot of effort. You can just use Polytone, and Polytone would work on Neutron as well. So even if you're building there, you should still check this out because it works everywhere. You don't need any extra stuff. Just put some contracts on your chain, and now you've got seamless, awesome interchain accounts. Smart contracts can use it. That's a really awesome thing. It has callbacks. It's fully open source, and it's audited. So you can build on top of it today. So maybe you want to build the Yearn finance of Cosmos, right? You want to build a protocol that does strategies across all the different DeFi protocols of the interchain. If you want to build something like that, come talk to me. I want to invest in your project. And you should definitely look at this, because this is a great tool if you're interested in building these kind of interchain protocols that seamlessly can control accounts across the interchain. And it was incubated on Juno. We've actually built some cool stuff. DAO is pretty cool. This Polytone thing is pretty cool. We're working on we're working on a bunch of stuff. I'll get to it, but we do see ourselves as the incubator for the interchain, and we'd love to work with other chains and build good vibes. Really, we need to be a lot more collaborative in this space. I'm sorry to keep harping on it, but it's true. Too much negativity. We got to turn it around. And so Juno, we're kind of going back to our roots. Juno was at its heart a very experimental chain. And our roots are experimentation and community. If you don't know much about Juno, you should know that it's a radical community chain. There were no VCs. There's no foundation. It's just pure DAO. Even the development fund is completely under community control. I believe we are the only project like Crypto L1 that has this kind of structure where the community is in full control. super decentralized. But let's talk about next steps for Juno, because we can't just sit where we are. There's a lot to do, and we want to be a lot more collaborative in the interchain. We don't see it as competition between Juno and Neutron. Honestly, we can all work together a lot more. And we're both doing and building really cool stuff and doing good things. So some of the things we're working on that are part of this Juno evolution initiative we've been working on, we're bridging to Polkadot and beyond. We have upgraded to the latest version of SDK and IBC, and we are working with the composable finance team. We aim to be the first, or one of the first chains to connect to Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. Let's bring some new users into the cosmos. And that's made possible by our awesome dev Reese, who's just crushing it and working through a lot of hard issues with SDK 47 to make that happen. So, yay, exciting. We're bringing in new liquidity to the ecosystem from Polkadot. Awesome. We're working on Juno Constitution. We're definitely an experimental chain, being completely DAO, and it's important to have nice written rules and structure, and that are human readable and not just in code. That part's really important, because how many people know how to code here? Probably more than average, but in terms of the normal distribution, most people don't know how to code. So you have to explain how all of the governance systems work, how it's structured, what are the checks and balances, how is the organization structured. And we're working on a lot of governance reforms, actually. We've done a lot of innovation, if you follow Juno Network in the past, on having things like sub-DAOs. So for example, our core development fund is a sub-DAO of the main community pool. So the Juno community has full control over that sub-DAO. If they don't like what they're doing, they can actually rug the development fund. So accountability is great. Sub-DAO is really cool, but we're building a much more kind of structured system. I'm happy to talk with any of you about it. I wanted this talk to be a little bit more high level and not go into the weeds of all the stuff we're thinking about for Juno governance. But if you're a governance or DAO nerd and want to talk with me about it, I'd love to chat. So yeah, we're working on some big governance reforms. As part of that, we're actually going to be swapping out the Cosmos Gov module with DAO. Because people really need good UI to participate in on-chain governance. And that we need better tools, for organizing really decentralized organizations. With the current Cosmos SDK governance, it's all flat. We all vote on all the same things. There's no way to structure different working groups or sub-DAOs or roles or accountability to have checks and balances or approval flows or veto flows. We can get all that with DAO and some more. Really cool things like gauge funding contracts, new ways of funding projects, new ways of voting, or not voting. I'm really actually a big believer in calm governance, and we have to vote too much in Cosmos, and it's a pain. So we have some really cool stuff coming out. We'll do. I'm short on time, so I'm going to keep going, but happy to talk with anyone after about that. Obviously, mesh security. We're stoked about mesh security. We have a couple people contributing to it. We're contributing to the funding of it. It's really cool that this is an interchain initiative, and kudos to the Osmosis team and for Sunny for really kicking it off, and also kudos to the Atom Accelerator for realizing that this is an important initiative for Cosmos, and also something that's great for the Cosmos Hub, right? So it's amazing to make it a real interchain thing. We're very excited about it. We're exploring Bitcoin level security with Babylon. Cosmos modules, again, this is another technical thing. I hope nobody's eyes are glazing over, but basically, you can write your SDK modules, and why you write an SDK module is you get access to some special stuff you can't do with a smart contract, like a begin blocker and end blocker, like a function that runs at the end of every block. So with Cosmos modules, you can have permissioned smart contracts. So rather than writing a Cosmos SDK module, you can just write a smart contract that has some extra permissions and pass it through governance. And then you don't have to do a chain upgrade. You can actually just implement low-level custom functionality in Cosmos smart contracts. So if you like Rust and don't like doing Go, or maybe you don't like upgrading your module every time the Cosmos SDK version changes, and you just want to write it once and forget about it, you should check out Cosmos modules and come talk to me. And we have performance improvements, because I think it's important to make a performant blockchain that people feel like they can deploy things like games on. So we have faster block times coming. It's been really awesome watching the work that Say has been doing, and our devs have been learning a lot from that, and we're kind of also trying to push the boundaries there. But instead, not just faster block times, better query and caching performance for nodes. So if you're a validator out there, if you're running RPC infrastructure, you're probably spending a lot of extra money. What if you could serve more traffic with running less RPC nodes? These are the kinds of problems that we really want to be introducing. So we have some caching and query performance improvements for validators. And if you're interested in that, come talk to me. I know it's a very validator-specific thing, but it's relevant to the end user because it ultimately means better performance and user experience when you're using these apps. They load faster. You don't get into weird problems where the RPC is down, you get some weird error message you don't understand. And then we're going to continue, in addition with what we're doing with the Polkadot stuff, we're going to continue being a cutting edge IBC and SDK features chain. We really want to be on the bleeding edge of that so that you develop on Juno really to get access to the latest and most advanced features. And that, again, going along with our incubator for the Interchain vision, we want devs to be able to use the latest and greatest, build and battle test their protocol on Juno, and then take it elsewhere. And perhaps what I'm most excited about, we're launching an Interchain developer DAO. So it's a secret society on a public, transparent DAO tooling infrastructure, but and we want it to be incubating for the Interchain, similar to Juno. I mean, it's an awesome thing. It's a guild structure, so there's many developer DAOs and Ethereum and things like that. And people need new devs, new people to the ecosystem. They need mentorship. They need education. They need some structure. When you come to community and you want to learn cosmosm, there's a lot of stuff to learn. You have to learn about all the blockchain fundamentals. You have to deal with Rust. You have to learn how to write a good smart contract. And then that's just the smart contract side. What about building a front end, an actual user experience that normal people appreciate? Because if you write a smart contract and there's no front end for it, it doesn't exist. And so, we are trying to create this great structure that can serve as an educational kind of incubator, really. We have some great masters. So we've got myself, Jack Zamplin. We got Reese, Zeke from Data, who's an amazing Cosmosm dev. We got Dan from Cosmology, who's probably the best front-end person in Cosmos and knows all of the tricky stuff about encoding and library and all that stuff. And we have a Dare from Abstract, who's just another killer Cosmosm and Cosmos dev. So if you're interested as a new dev in the space and you want to get some mentorship and access to new opportunities, and also, Jack and I are connected with some funds, so we also want to use this as a way to help incubate some cool projects, so yeah, there's a mentorship, education. There's going to be bounties, obviously networking, and you can make a bunch of friends, exclusive opportunities. Join us. We're recruiting. We don't even care if you're on another crypto project. Just come join. Let's build a community. That's what's really valuable. So I guess I'll get some closing thoughts. Maybe there'll be some questions. And it's my message to the Interchain DAOs of Cosmos, all you other Cosmos chains out there, even if you don't care about Juno at all, that's fine. Our fates are tied together. That's the message. We succeed as an ecosystem together. You saw all those charts at the beginning. It's all downward slope, right? They're all linked. Look at we're a lot more together than we think. We get in this mindset of, this project's doing something similar to me, and we're all competing, right? And we're just competing over a smaller and smaller pie. What we have to do is actually get back to what we were doing at the beginning, which is showing the ecosystem and the Interchain vision, which is a much more exciting thing. Because then people from the outside look in and see Cosmos is doing something cool, and they don't see Cosmos is just all drama all the time, and they're constantly fighting each other. And it's it looks like a shit show over there. I'm going to go hang out in Ethereum where there's actual liquidity, right? And so I think we should all just be a little bit nicer to each other. Let's pursue some positive vibes. Let's get people excited about the Interchain again, because IBC is the best tech in crypto, I believe, and the Interchain is the next paradigm. And so to close, at Juno Network, we're building alliances. Let's collaborate. We have some great devs. We're pursuing some cutting-edge features. We're incubating like new novel protocols and open source tools that could be very useful on your chain. So let's figure out how we can work together, whether you're a chain or developers or investors. I'd be happy to talk with you. Those are our handles on Twitter. Feel free to reach out. If you want to collaborate with Juno, you want to collaborate with DAO. If you want to, I should also mention that I'm starting a new fund with Sam Cassett, who's a co-founder of Consensus. Trying to bring in some new liquidity to the Cosmos ecosystem so we can invest in this really promising fleet of projects. It's called Analog Interchain. If you're interested in that, come talk to me as well. But let's collaborate more. Let's just build together. Let's pursue the positive vibes. Let's stop the negativity because it's actually not helping us. You might think that you're getting one up over like the other chain by like putting down your competitor, but it actually just looks petty from the outside. And it's not good vibes. Let's make #IBC gang great again. All right.
I can. Thank you very much.
Right.
So we have actually quite a lot of questions.
Oh my gosh.
Some of them, like when a moon, I don't think.
When moon is, no, I'll answer that. When moon is when we all get together as an ecosystem and really show the interchain, right? We can all show our individual projects as part of that, right? That's part of it, but you look at the price. When Cosmos was mooning, we all mooned together, and we were falling, we're all falling together. And so we are much more tied together, and that when moon is when we clean up our act, and like, instead of fighting over smaller and smaller pie, we create something that's an exciting movement that everyone wants to be a part of.
All right. So when it comes to like more serious question,
Okay.
there is if there are any plans to integrate DAO to Ethereum, oh my gosh, pardon, Ethereum anytime.
No.
No.
DAO cannot be integrated on Ethereum because it's actually built using better smart contracting technology. I wrote my first line of Solidity in 2016. I appreciate all that the Ethereum ecosystem has done, and unlike a lot of people in Cosmos, I'm actually a closet Ethereum maxi. But yeah, the DAO is written in WebAssembly smart contracts. Vitalik was right in 2016. Wasm is a better virtual machine for smart contracts, and yeah, so. And that's also why we've been able to build the most advanced DAO tooling in crypto, like with basically like completely bootstrapped, because we have access to better tech.
And another one is, what is the main focus for Juno right now?
I think the main focus for Juno is like kind of community organization and reform, because like at the heart, like the thing that makes Juno unique is like what I was getting to earlier of being like a pure DAO, a pure community-owned chain. Like not having the same sort of structure as like most other like L1s in crypto have, where they have the core team and the foundation, and they have like 30% or more of the chain, and there's no way to take those tokens back, and there's no accountability, and it's like, it's harder doing things as a DAO, but I think ultimately it's something that's like a lot more exciting and can be a lot more powerful. And to really, our vision is kind of the incubator for the Interchain. We want to be the place where people come to launch and create cool protocols like DAO, and then like distribute them to the world. We want it to be a center of value creation. So we're really putting a lot of effort into our developer communities, into restructuring Juno governance to make it a lot more efficient and have better transparency and things like communication. And I am actually really excited about Lead Society because we need to like mentor the next generation of projects and developers. And it'll take some time to pay off, but and there are a lot of like other things that people are working on at Juno with like some cool additions to tokenomics, some new mechanisms for funding projects, which we think is like a huge priority for us, is we want people to be able to come to Juno and easily find funds for their project, right? So we're working on some tools for that in addition to having like DAO and a bunch of other cool people working there, you'll be able to leverage some really cool stuff. But at the end of the day, it's the community. If the community of Juno is excited about everything that's launching on Juno, more and more people will want to launch there.
All right. So thank you very much, Jake.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. I think they deserve another applause.